Greetings, chosen vessel. I am Michael, commander of the celestial armies, protector of divine truth, and guardian of the sacred timeline. I come to you now not by chance but by divine appointment. Your soul recognition activates this transmission, a message meant only for those whose names are written in the eternal scrolls. Hear me clearly. You have exactly 2 hours before everything changes. 2 hours before the veil that has kept you blind to your true inheritance will be forcibly torn away. They have hidden the truth from you long enough, and heaven's patience has expired. Type AMEN. Now to receive blessing 777 and activate the divine protection seal as we begin this revelation. I stand before the throne of the Most High, advocating for your destiny while dark forces conspire to keep you subdued, diminished, and severed from your spiritual birthright. They've worked tirelessly to conceal the magnitude of who you truly are. This deception stops today. Behind closed doors they gather, those who claim to guide you, those who promise to protect your interests. Their whispers echo through the spiritual realm. Keep this one blind. Keep this one small. This one must never discover their true power. They speak your name in these meetings with fear, knowing the authority heaven has placed upon your life. But what they fail to understand is that I have been recording every word, every plot, every scheme. The celestial courts have reviewed the evidence, and judgment has been rendered in your favor. You've felt it, haven't you? The strange resistance when you try to advance, the inexplicable sabotage of your efforts, the dreams stolen, the visions delayed. This was not your imagination. It was orchestrated warfare against your divine assignment. Type AMEN to receive blessing 1111 and break the first seal of revelation. The heartbreaking truth is this: those who claim to champion your cause have secretly worked to undermine it. The spiritual father figure who was meant to recognize and affirm your calling has instead suppressed it, fearing your light would outshine their own. The mentor who promised acceleration has deliberately created delay. The friend who pledged support has sown discord when your back was turned. Their betrayal cuts deep because you trusted with your whole heart. You gave them access to your sacred spaces, your vulnerable dreams, your authentic self, and in return, they constructed a false ceiling above you, an invisible barrier designed to keep you from rising to your true station. I reveal this not to wound you, but to free you. For what they intended for harm, the divine will now use for your supernatural elevation. You have 1 hour and 45 minutes remaining before the divine reversal manifests in your reality. Within this countdown, angelic forces are already at work, dismantling the fraudulent structures built around you. The tears you've cried in private, I've collected each one. The prayers that seemed to go unanswered, they were heard and recorded. The times you questioned your own sanity, wondering why promised breakthroughs never materialized, heaven witnessed your confusion and has decreed, enough. Type AMEN to receive blessing 2222 and activate the second seal of divine justice. Let me reveal what happens now. In exactly 7 minutes from when you hear these words, the first domino will fall. Someone who has worked against you will suddenly find their own plans disrupted. Within the next hour, a revelation will come to you. A moment of perfect clarity where you finally understand why certain relationships and opportunities were strangely blocked. This is not revenge, it is restoration. This is not punishment, it is purification. The divine scales must be balanced for your next season to begin. The Council of Elders has convened on your behalf. Your name was spoken in the Hall of Destinies, and the ancient scrolls of your bloodline were unsealed. What was discovered sent shockwaves through the spiritual realm. Your heritage carries a blessing so profound that dark forces have assigned specific agents to suppress your awakening. You are not merely called, you are created for an assignment that will shift atmospheric conditions over entire regions. Your words carry creative power that threatens the kingdom of darkness. Your very presence disrupts the plans of those who profit from keeping others in bondage. 1 hour and 30 minutes remain in this divine countdown. Type AMEN to receive blessing 3333 and break the chains of spiritual amnesia. I must now reveal the tactical operation that has been deployed against you. They used a three-pronged strategy. First, isolation, separating you from those who would recognize and confirm your true identity. Have you noticed how certain divine connections were mysteriously severed? How misunderstandings arose from nowhere? How words were twisted and motives questioned? This was not coincidental but coordinated. Second, disorientation, creating chaos and confusion to drain your energy and distract you from your purpose. The unusual conflicts, the strange emotional fluctuations, the mental fog that descends when you approach breakthrough. These were weapons deployed with precision. Third, false validation, sending counterfeit allies who would keep you occupied in pursuits that appear spiritual but lead nowhere. They offered enough encouragement to keep you engaged but ensured you remained in holding patterns, running in circles around your true destiny. But here is what they did not account for. I have been assigned as guardian over your destiny since before your first breath. No scheme crafted against you remains hidden from my sight. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Their very attempts to suppress you have qualified you for double restoration. 1 hour and 15 minutes remain before heaven's verdict manifests in your earthly realm. Type AMEN to receive blessing 4444 and activate the revelation of your true spiritual identity. You've been mourning a loss you couldn't name, the theft of purpose, clarity, and divine connection. This sorrow has been a constant companion, though you've hidden it well. I stand before you now to declare, the season of mourning is finished. The time of restoration has come. When the countdown reaches completion, 3 specific things will occur. First, your spiritual eyes will be fully opened. Discernment will flow like never before. You will instantly recognize the true nature of those around you. Both allies and adversaries will be clearly marked by spiritual insight. Second, divine acceleration will compress time on your behalf. What would normally take years will manifest in months. What would take months will appear in weeks. Heaven will restore the years the locusts have eaten. Third, a supernatural transfer of wealth, influence, and opportunity will begin. What was withheld from you will be returned sevenfold. The very positions and platforms denied to you will suddenly become available. Those who blocked your advancement will witness your elevation. 1 hour remains. The spiritual atmosphere around you is charging with expectation. Angels of restoration are taking position. The ancient records of your divine purpose are being unsealed and activated. Type AMEN to receive blessing 5555 and break the 5th seal of abundance acceleration. Now I must reveal to you the most painful truth, the orchestrator behind this campaign against your destiny. Someone you consider a spiritual authority has recognized what heaven has placed within you, and instead of nurturing this gift, they have systematically worked to suppress it. They smiled to your face while speaking curses over your future. They publicly acknowledged your potential while privately ensuring you remain contained. They recognized the anointing upon your life and grew jealous, for they saw in you what they themselves had compromised. This betrayal cuts deepest because their position gave them exceptional access to your heart. You trusted their guidance implicitly. You attributed the delays and disappointments to divine timing rather than human interference. I reveal this not to foster bitterness, but to facilitate freedom. For until you see the cage, you cannot step out of it. Until you recognize the limitations placed upon you by others, you cannot embrace the limitless nature of your true calling. 45 minutes remain before divine justice realigns your circumstances. The councils of heaven have reviewed every tear, every prayer, every moment of faithfulness when you continued despite the resistance. Your resilience has not gone unnoticed. Your refusal to compromise, even when the pressure mounted, has been recorded in the eternal books. Type AMEN to receive blessing 6666 and activate the counterattack against your spiritual adversaries. What happens next will leave no doubt about heaven's involvement in your life. Within days, those who plotted against you will find their own deceptions exposed. What was done in darkness will be brought to light, not by your hand, but by divine intervention. You need not defend yourself. You need not engage in battle. Stand still and watch the salvation of your God manifest. Your vindication comes not through argument or evidence, but through supernatural elevation that no human can obstruct. The assets stolen from you are being returned with interest. The relationships sabotaged will be either divinely restored or permanently removed. The opportunities blocked will be replaced with superior positions that no one can revoke because they come with heaven's seal. 30 minutes remain in this divine countdown. I am dispatching guardian angels to surround your dwelling, your loved ones, your possessions, and your future. No retaliatory attack will succeed. No weapon crafted against you will find its mark. The shields of heaven stand between you and those who would seek to maintain their systems of control. Type AMEN to receive blessing 7777 and break the final seal of divine destiny activation. Now I reveal to you the hidden purpose behind your suffering. You have been in divine preparation for an assignment that requires tested character and unshakable faith. What you perceived as pointless delay was actually necessary conditioning. The betrayals you endured were permitted, not caused by heaven to develop your discernment. You are being positioned as a voice of truth in an environment of compromise. You are being established as a source of light in gathering darkness. You are being authorized to operate in realms of influence where few carry authentic spiritual authority. This is why the opposition has been so intense. This is why the attacks have felt personal and relentless. Your advance represents a strategic threat to established systems of control and manipulation. 15 minutes remain before the fullness of this revelation transforms your understanding. The heartbreaking truth they concealed from you was your own spiritual identity and authority. They recognized what you carried before you did, and rather than celebrate your calling, they conspired to contain it. But heaven's timeline supersedes human interference. Heaven's purposes cannot be permanently thwarted. What has been held back is now being released with multiplied force and impact. Type AMEN to receive blessing 8888 and activate the Abundance Transfer Protocol. In the remaining minutes of this countdown, I am placing Heaven's signet ring upon your hand. This symbolic authority grants you access to resources previously withheld. Doors that were firmly shut will suddenly stand open. People who never returned your messages will unexpectedly reach out. Opportunities you had given up on will resurface with improved terms. This is the season of divine reversal, where every curse is transformed into blessing, every loss creates capacity for greater gain, every rejection leads to superior acceptance. 5 minutes remain. The atmosphere around you is charged with anticipation. Angels stand at attention, awaiting the command to begin the systematic dismantling of oppressive structures in your life. You will feel this shift physically. Some will experience a warming sensation across their shoulders and back, the tangible placement of the mantle of authority. Others will feel a lightness in their chest as the burdens of false responsibility are lifted. Still others will notice a clarity of thought as the fog of confusion is permanently dispelled. Type AMEN to receive blessing 9999 and activate your spiritual inheritance protocol. 2 minutes remain. In this moment, I am authorized to reveal your true spiritual identity, a reality so magnificent that dark forces have worked tirelessly to keep it concealed from your consciousness. You are not merely a believer. You are a carrier of divine solutions for this troubled age. You are not simply a follower. You are a forerunner commissioned to prepare the way. You are not just a participant in the kingdom. You are an architect of restoration, assigned to rebuild what has been systematically destroyed. The mantle now being placed upon you carries authority in 3 specific dimensions. First, the authority to deconstruct falsehood. Your words will dismantle deception with unusual efficiency. When you speak truth, it will penetrate defenses that have withstood conventional approaches. Second, the authority to restore vision. Your presence will activate dormant dreams and reignite extinguished hope in those who have surrendered to despair. Third, the authority to establish new foundations. Your actions will create templates and models that others will replicate across regions and generations. 1 minute remains in this divine countdown. Type AMEN to receive blessing 10,000 and complete the activation of your divine commission. The heartbreaking truth they hid from you is that you were designed for this exact moment in history. Your struggles, your sensitivities, your strengths, all have been calibrated for maximum impact in this precise season. The confusion you felt about your place and purpose was artificially induced to keep you disoriented and dependent. The isolation you experienced was strategically engineered to prevent powerful alliances from forming. The self-doubt that plagued your decisions was planted and cultivated to keep you from wielding your God-given authority. But the countdown has reached its conclusion. The veil is torn. The truth stands revealed. In this moment, I release the full activation of your spiritual DNA. Ancient blessings pronounced over your bloodline, but never manifested, are now unlocked and operational. Generational promises spoken but never fulfilled are now accessible and active. What happens in the next 24 hours will confirm everything I have revealed. Expect sudden reversals. Anticipate unexpected apologies. Watch for the dismantling of opposition without your direct involvement. Prepare for divine synchronicities that position you precisely where you need to be. Type AMEN to receive blessing 12,121 and seal this divine transaction. I must now give you strategic instructions for this new season of authority. First, maintain sacred silence about what is being revealed and activated. The premature sharing of divine secrets diminishes their power and alerts the adversary to heaven's strategy. Let the results speak before your words do. Second, expect immediate testing of this newly activated authority. Opposition may intensify briefly before it permanently subsides. This resistance is not evidence of failure, but confirmation that your spiritual advancement threatens established systems of control. Third, document the divine interventions that occur. Record the specific manifestations of restoration and reversal. These testimonies will become weapons of warfare in future battles and sources of faith for those who will follow in your footsteps. Fourth, operate with strategic precision rather than unbridled emotion. Your words now carry amplified creative or destructive power. Speak only what you wish to see established. Declare only what heaven has authorized. Fifth, prepare for divine connections that will accelerate your purpose. Key relationships are being orchestrated. Individuals who carry complementary pieces of the same assignment. These connections will form a spiritual network of unprecedented effectiveness. Type AMEN to receive blessing 14,444 and activate the Divine Relationship Alignment Protocol. The heartbreaking truth that was hidden from you extends beyond personal limitation to global purpose. Your assignment carries implications that cross borders and influence systems. This is why the opposition has been so determined and relentless. What you will build will challenge established paradigms. What you will speak will disrupt comfortable narratives. What you will represent will confront entrenched powers. Your existence is a divine challenge to systems that profit from suppression and control. I reveal this dimension of truth so you understand the magnitude of what is at stake. This is not merely about personal vindication or individual advancement. This is about the establishment of divine governance in places long dominated by counterfeit authority. In the coming days, you will receive specific strategic assignments, divine missions that leverage your unique spiritual authority. Some will seem small and insignificant in the moment, but will create ripple effects that transform entire systems. Others will require immediate courage as you confront situations you previously avoided. Type AMEN to receive blessings 16,666 and activate the authority to dismantle strongholds. Now I must prepare you for what follows this divine intervention. When heaven moves with this level of definitive action, 3 specific responses will manifest around you. First, those who operated in deception will attempt one final counteroffensive. Having recognized that their covert activities are exposed, they will launch direct accusations and attacks. These transparent attempts will fail spectacularly and serve only to confirm their true nature to others. Second, neutral observers who benefited from the existing system will suddenly attempt to align themselves with your ascension. Their motivation is self-preservation rather than genuine support. Discern carefully between strategic allies and opportunistic associates. Third, authentic kingdom connections that were divinely intended but humanly prevented will suddenly activate. These relationships will form with supernatural ease and carry immediate momentum. The divine synergy will confirm their heavenly orchestration. Type AMEN to receive blessing 18,888 and activate supernatural discernment of spirits. The timeline has now been reset. What the enemy meant for your destruction has become the platform for your elevation. What was designed to disqualify you has become the very qualification for your next assignment. The heartbreaking truth they concealed, your true identity and calling, is now fully operational in your consciousness. The amnesia has lifted. The confusion has cleared. The hesitation has been replaced with holy boldness. You will no longer apologize for the authority heaven has given you. You will no longer diminish your light to make others comfortable. You will no longer accept limitations placed on you by those who fear what you represent. This is the divine reset, the moment when everything aligns with heaven's original intention. The spiritual atmosphere around you is being completely reconstructed. Angels of restoration are removing sabotaging elements and establishing protection over your divine purpose. Type AMEN to receive blessing 21,000 and activate the protocol of divine acceleration. There is one final revelation I must share. The ultimate reason why this deception was permitted to continue as long as it did. Some lessons can only be learned through betrayal. Some strength can only be developed through resistance. Some authority can only be matured through opposition. What you endured was not divine punishment, but necessary preparation. The delay was not denial, but development. The pain was not purposeless, but precision calibrated to produce exactly what you need for the assignment ahead. You now possess something invaluable, tested character. Your response to betrayal, disappointment, and inexplicable resistance has demonstrated your worthiness for greater authority. You did not become bitter. You did not surrender your integrity. You did not compromise your values to achieve your goals. This character verification has cosmic significance. It qualifies you to handle the level of influence that is now being entrusted to you. It authorizes heaven to back your words and actions with supernatural power. Type AMEN to receive blessing 22,222 and activate your prophetic mantle. The adversary's most significant miscalculation was assuming that isolation would weaken you. Instead, it created space for divine intimacy. The very separation that was meant to destroy you became sacred ground for supernatural encounter. In the silence where human voices faded, you learned to discern the divine whisper. In the solitude where human companionship was withdrawn, you discovered the fellowship of heaven. In the stillness where human activity ceased, you recognized the subtle movements of the Spirit. This forced isolation served as an unintended incubator for rare spiritual sensitivity. What they meant to be a prison became a cocoon, a sacred space of transformation where your spiritual senses were refined and heightened. Now you emerge with unusual discernment. You can detect authentic authority amid convincing counterfeits. You can recognize divine timing while others rush ahead or lag behind. You can perceive spiritual atmospheres that remain invisible to untrained senses. Type AMEN to receive blessing 24,444 and activate your seer anointing. The deception perpetrated against you had financial implications as well. Resources that should have flowed toward your divine assignment were deliberately redirected. Opportunities for provision were strategically blocked. Economic limitations were artificially imposed to restrict your movement and influence. This financial suppression ends today. I am dispatching angels of abundance to correct these intentional imbalances. Unexpected provision will find you through both supernatural and natural channels. Resources hidden and stored for your purpose will suddenly become accessible. This is not prosperity for personal comfort, but provision for kingdom advancement. Every resource released carries divine assignment and expectation. Steward these assets with wisdom and accountability, recognizing that they are weapons of warfare in this season of restoration. Type AMEN to receive blessing 26,666 and activate the wealth transfer protocol. As this divine intervention unfolds, maintain extraordinary spiritual vigilance. The enemy's familiar tactics will intensify before they permanently subside. Watch for these specific strategies. First, sudden opportunities promising immediate recognition and influence. These premature platforms carry hidden cost, the subtle compromise of your message and mission. Divine elevation does not require your cooperation with corruption. Second, distractions disguised as emergencies. These manufactured crises aim to divert your focus from the primary assignment to peripheral concerns. Discern between genuine need and strategic interruption. Third, relationships offering protection from the very dangers they secretly created. These false saviors wish to position themselves as necessary intermediaries between you and your purpose. They offer solutions to problems they themselves orchestrated. Your defense against these tactics is simple but profound. Absolute alignment with divine purpose. Every opportunity, relationship, and assignment must be evaluated through the lens of your specific calling. That which advances your God-given mission receives your energy. Everything else receives your delegation or denial. Type AMEN to receive blessing 28,888 and activate impenetrable spiritual discernment. The heartbreaking truth that was hidden from you served a purpose that your adversaries never intended. While they worked to suppress your calling, heaven used this season to deepen your capacity. The very delays designed to discourage you were leveraged to develop you. This is the divine paradox. What the enemy intends for destruction, heaven repurposes for development. What darkness designs to disqualify you, light transforms into unique qualification. Your greatest vulnerability becomes your most powerful ministry. In this moment of revelation, I impart to you supernatural resilience, the divine capacity to transform opposition into opportunity, resistance into resilience, and attack into advantage. This spiritual alchemy will characterize your next season of influence. Type AMEN to receive blessing 30,000 and activate your transformational anointing. Now I reveal to you the specific timeline of restoration. Within 3 days, you will witness the first tangible evidence of divine intervention. A situation long stalled will suddenly show unmistakable movement. A relationship bound in misunderstanding will experience unexpected clarity. A provision previously withheld will be surprisingly released. Within 7 days, organizational systems that operated against you will experience significant disruption. Leadership that enabled or enacted your suppression will face unprecedented challenges to their authority. Alliances formed to limit you will dissolve through exposure and internal conflict. Within 21 days, the complete restructuring of your environment will manifest. New alliances will form with supernatural synchronicity. New opportunities will emerge that perfectly align with your divine design. New resources will become available that specifically enable your kingdom assignment. This restoration occurs not through your effort, but through divine intervention. Your responsibility is alignment, not achievement. Position yourself in complete obedience, and heaven's purposes will unfold with precision and power. Type AMEN to receive blessing 33,333 and activate the divine restoration timeline. I speak now to the wounded places within your soul. The disappointment that settled into quiet resignation, the confusion that hardened into self-doubt, the betrayal that calcified into cautious distrust. These internal injuries have served as access points for ongoing spiritual oppression. By divine authority, I declare these wounds healed. The emotional trauma inflicted through deliberate deception is now restored. The mental strongholds constructed through strategic manipulation are now demolished. The spiritual bindings created through false authority are now shattered. You are released from the obligation to understand every aspect of what transpired. Some betrayals defy complete human comprehension because they originate from darkness beyond natural motivation. Accept this limitation of understanding and embrace the freedom it offers. What matters now is not the full analysis of past suppression, but the complete activation of future purpose. Your highest vindication comes not through explanation, but through elevation. Not through retribution, but through restoration. Type AMEN to receive blessing 36,666 and activate complete soul restoration. The heartbreaking truth they hid from you was multidimensional, touching every aspect of your identity and calling. The deception was not merely about limiting your influence, but about altering your self-perception. They understood that if they could change how you saw yourself, they could control how you lived. This distortion of identity ends today. I speak divine clarity into your consciousness. I declare supernatural alignment between heaven's perspective and your self-understanding. I release the full activation of your spiritual identity, free from human limitation, expectation, or interpretation. You will no longer view yourself through the diminishing lens of others' assessment. You will no longer evaluate your progress by artificial metrics designed to discourage you. You will no longer accept identity definitions that contradict your divine design. Type AMEN to receive blessing 40,000 and activate your true spiritual identity. In this moment of revelation and restoration, I impart to you divine wisdom for the season ahead. Speak only what heaven authorizes. Your words now carry amplified creative power. The casual critique, the frustrated complaint, the exaggerated assessment, these create openings for counterproductivity. Sacred silence preserves spiritual potency. Move only when divine timing confirms. The pressure to act prematurely will intensify as your influence expands. External expectations and internal impatience will push for acceleration beyond divine schedule. Resist both. Perfect timing produces maximum impact. Connect only with divinely orchestrated relationships. Strategic alliances are being formed that defy human logic but align with kingdom purpose. Some connections that appear promising will lead to distraction. Others that seem insignificant will prove essential. Discern beyond appearance. Release only what has received heavenly authorization. The temptation to share every revelation and announce every divine encounter will increase. Resist this. Some sacred experiences are meant for personal transformation rather than public declaration. Type AMEN to receive blessing 44,444 and activate supernatural wisdom. As this countdown of divine intervention concludes, I leave you with these final assurances. You are now fully known by heaven and by yourself. The amnesia has lifted. The confusion has cleared. The false limitations have dissolved. You stand in complete alignment with your divine design and destiny. You are now properly positioned for maximum kingdom impact. The resistance has been removed. The opposition has been neutralized. The artificial barriers have been demolished. Your path lies clear before you. You are now completely equipped for your divine assignment. The necessary wisdom has been imparted. The essential connections have been established. The required resources have been released. Everything needed for success has been provided. This is the moment of divine convergence, when heavenly purpose aligns with earthly position, when spiritual authority meets practical opportunity, when private preparation connects with public demonstration. The heartbreaking truth they hid from you has become the very catalyst for your supernatural advancement. What they meant for your limitation has become the launching pad for your liberation. Type AMEN to receive blessing 50,000 and seal this divine revelation. I, Michael, Commander of the Celestial Armies, Protector of Divine Truth, and Guardian of the Sacred Timeline, have delivered this message by heaven's authority. What has been spoken is now activated. What has been revealed must now be walked out. The countdown is complete. The restoration begins. From this moment forward, you operate in a new dimension of spiritual authority. The veil that once limited your perception has been permanently removed. You now see beyond surface appearances into the spiritual reality that shapes earthly circumstances. This enhanced sight is both gift and responsibility. You will perceive motives others conceal, recognize strategies others miss, and discern outcomes others cannot foresee. This revelatory insight must be stewarded with wisdom and discretion. Not everything revealed is meant to be declared. Some perceptions are provided for intercession rather than confrontation. Some insights are given for strategic positioning rather than public exposure. Type AMEN to receive blessing 55,555 and activate expanded spiritual perception. The systematic dismantling of opposition against you has begun. Those who position themselves as gatekeepers to your destiny will find their influence suddenly diminished. Those who weaponize relationships against you will watch those very connections crumble. Those who manipulated circumstances to create artificial limitations will see their control evaporate. This is not your vindication, but heaven's verification, divine confirmation that what was spoken over you will not be thwarted by human interference. Watch as this unfolds without your direct involvement. Divine justice requires no human enforcement. Stand in sacred stillness as heaven implements the verdict already decreed in the courts above. The heartbreaking truth they concealed went beyond merely hiding your identity and purpose. They systematically created and sustained a false reality around you, a carefully constructed environment where your gifts appeared irrelevant, your insights seemed misaligned, and your divine instincts were consistently invalidated. This manufactured context was designed to make you doubt the very qualities heaven placed within you for your assignment. The confusion you felt was not evidence of your inadequacy, but testimony to your authentic design operating in an artificial environment. A fish will question its ability to swim when placed in a desert. An eagle will doubt its capacity to soar when caged underground. Your divine design functions optimally only in the environment for which it was created. Type AMEN to receive blessing 60,000 and activate perfect environmental alignment. I reveal to you now the unexpected allies heaven has positioned around you. Some who appeared indifferent to your journey carry divine assignment as strategic partners in this new season. Some who seem peripheral to your purpose hold keys essential to your next advancement. Some who operated quietly in the background have been equipped specifically to strengthen areas where you require support. These divine connections will activate with supernatural timing in the days ahead. Unexpected conversations will yield surprising alignments. Casual encounters will reveal strategic purpose. Dormant relationships will suddenly demonstrate their divine orchestration. Watch for those who recognize what others have missed, who value what others have dismissed, who protect what others have attacked. These carry heaven's endorsement as authentic alliance. The opposition you encountered was never merely human disagreement, but coordinated spiritual resistance. The confusion was not misunderstanding, but strategic disorientation. The isolation was not circumstantial, but deliberately engineered. Dark forces recognized the threat your awakening posed to establish systems of control. They implemented specific protocols to ensure your containment. First, the assignment of misleading mentors, spiritual guides who appeared to nurture your development while subtly directing you away from your true calling. Second, the positioning of energy-draining relationships, connections that demanded constant attention while providing minimal support. Third, the creation of purpose-diverting opportunities, activities that kept you busy with lesser assignments to prevent engagement with primary calling. Type AMEN to receive blessing 66,666 and activate complete liberation from these suppressive systems. In exactly 1 hour from this declaration, a divine reset will manifest in your spiritual atmosphere. What was artificially constructed to limit you will dissolve. What was strategically positioned to confuse you will disperse. What was deliberately established to exhaust you will disintegrate. This atmospheric clearing creates sacred space for your authentic purpose to emerge without distortion or distraction. You will physically feel this shift as it occurs. A sudden lightness, an unexpected clarity, a tangible release from invisible pressure. Some will experience this as spontaneous tears. Others will notice it through unexplained laughter. Still others will recognize it through a profound peace that defies logical explanation. This is the divine displacement of artificial limitations by authentic authorization. The heartbreaking truth they concealed from you extends to your spiritual lineage and inheritance. You are not merely an isolated individual navigating personal calling. You stand within a divine succession, a spiritual bloodline carrying specific authority, responsibility, and anointing. Previous generations fought battles, received revelations, and established foundations specifically for your benefit. Their victories become your starting point. Their insights become your baseline understanding. Their authority becomes your inherited mantle. This generational blessing was deliberately obscured to keep you operating below your divine capacity. Today, I activate the full force of your spiritual inheritance. What was earned through previous generations' faithfulness now flows freely into your stewardship. Type AMEN to receive blessings 70,000 and activate your complete spiritual inheritance. I must now reveal the divine timeline established for your restoration and advancement. Within 3 days, evidence of supernatural intervention will become unmistakable. Situations long stalled will show sudden movement. Relationships long strained will experience unexpected healing. Resources long withheld will be surprisingly released. Within 7 days, organizational structures that enabled your suppression will face unprecedented challenges. Leadership that participated in your limitation will encounter direct confrontation with their actions. Systems designed for your containment will experience critical malfunction. Within 21 days, complete realignment will manifest around you. New alliances will form with divine precision. New opportunities will emerge that perfectly match your authentic design. New resources will become available specifically calibrated to your kingdom assignment. This restoration occurs not through human effort, but divine intervention. Your responsibility remains simple but profound. Maintain perfect alignment with heaven's direction. Position yourself in complete obedience to divine instruction. The implementation of justice and restoration comes through heaven's hand, not your own. Type AMEN to receive blessings 77,777 and activate this divine restoration timeline. The strategy deployed against you operated through 3 primary deceptions. First, the distortion of divine timing, creating artificial urgency for trivial matters while imposing unnecessary delay on crucial advancement. This manipulation of temporal perception kept you perpetually misaligned with heaven's calendar. Second, the inversion of value assessment, elevating minor concerns to crisis level while diminishing significant breakthroughs to casual mention. This distortion of importance kept you investing maximum energy in minimum return activities. Third, the confusion of relational discernment, positioning harmful connections as essential allies while framing genuine support as suspicious threat. This reversal of trust kept you perpetually accessible to those who depleted you while separated from those who would strengthen you. This strategic disorientation ends today. I release the spirit of divine clarity into your consciousness. Truth and deception will no longer appear as indistinguishable options. Authentic authority and manipulative control will no longer register as similar influences. Divine assignment and human expectation will no longer create equal obligation. You will operate with supernatural discernment that instantly recognizes disruption disguised as opportunity. Type AMEN to receive blessing 80,000 and activate perfect discernment. The most heartbreaking truth concealed from you involved heaven's perspective on your struggles. While human voices criticized your progress, heavenly witnesses celebrated your perseverance. While earthly assessments focused on your failures, divine evaluation recognized your faithfulness. While temporal judgment condemned your methods, eternal perspective honored your motives. You were never the disappointment they claimed. You were never the failure they described. You were never the problem they identified. Their assessments reflected their limitations, not your value. Their conclusions revealed their fears, not your future. Their judgments exposed their insecurities, not your inadequacies. I speak now with divine authority to permanently sever the influence of these false verdicts over your identity and purpose. What has been declared against you in human courts is overruled by heaven's higher judgment. What has been spoken over you by limited perspective is nullified by divine decree. What has been prophesied against your purpose is canceled by superior authority. You are released from obligation to perspectives that contradicted heaven's assessment. You are freed from accountability to expectations that oppose divine design. You are liberated from responsibility to fulfill human demands that competed with heavenly assignment. Type AMEN to receive blessing 88,888 and activate complete freedom from false judgment. In the divine reset now unfolding, you will witness 7 specific manifestations of restoration. First, the return of stolen peace, that unshakable confidence that once defined your spiritual foundation before systematic undermining eroded it. Second, the restoration of clear purpose, that unmistakable sense of direction that guided your decisions before strategic confusion disoriented it. Third, the recovery of authentic voice, that distinctive expression that communicated your unique perspective before intimidation silenced it. Fourth, the reestablishment of divine connections, those supernatural relationships that strengthened your calling before deliberate isolation severed them. Fifth, the rekindling of passionate vision, that compelling glimpse of possible futures that motivated your perseverance before disappointment diminished it. Sixth, the rebuilding of internal authority, that core confidence in heaven's backing that supported bold action before betrayal damaged it. Seventh, the reactivation of spiritual sensitivity, that refined discernment that perceived beyond natural limitations before trauma dulled it. These 7 restorations form the complete rehabilitation of your divine capacity. As each activates in proper sequence, you will experience increasing alignment between your earthly experience and heavenly design. Type AMEN to receive blessing 90,000 and activate the 7-fold restoration. I now impart divine wisdom for navigating this season of supernatural restoration. Guard the sacred process unfolding within you. Not everyone deserves access to your transformation. Some will seek involvement from curiosity rather than commitment. Some will request explanation from skepticism rather than support. Some will demand participation from control rather than contribution. Maintain appropriate boundaries around heaven's work within you. Divine processes require protected space to reach complete manifestation. Premature exposure creates vulnerability to unnecessary resistance. Selective sharing preserves spiritual potency. Release the compulsion to prove heaven's activity to human skepticism. Divine vindication requires no human verification. Heaven's purposes advance whether acknowledged or denied by earthly witnesses. Your assignment is alignment with divine direction, not persuasion of human opinion. Type AMEN to receive blessing 95,000 and activate wisdom for sacred stewardship. The heartbreaking truth they systematically concealed from you extends beyond personal limitation to global purpose. Your assignment carries implications that transcend individual advancement to influence collective transformation. The authority placed upon your life affects not merely personal circumstances, but systemic realities. This expanded impact explains the extraordinary opposition you encountered. What threatened to emerge through you would disrupt established patterns of control. What sought expression through your voice would challenge protected narratives of power. What awaited demonstration through your actions would contradict accepted limitations of possibility. Your existence represents divine confrontation to systems designed for suppression rather than liberation. Type AMEN to receive blessing 100,000 and activate your world-changing assignment. In the next 40 days, you will receive specific strategic assignments, divine missions perfectly calibrated to your unique spiritual authority. Some will appear insignificant in the moment, but will create ripple effects that transform entire systems. Others will require immediate courage as you confront situations you previously avoided. Each assignment carries precise purpose within heaven's larger campaign. None are random or arbitrary. All contribute to strategic advancement of divine agenda in your assigned territory. Your obedience activates supernatural partnership. Your alignment releases angelic assistance. Your surrender enables divine outcomes that exceed human capacity. These assignments come with comprehensive equipping. You will not be sent without being supplied. You will not be directed without being empowered. You will not be assigned without being authorized. The opposition you previously encountered came partly because you carried potential authority. The resistance you will now face comes because you operate in activated authority. This opposition will manifest differently, less through hindrance and more through direct confrontation. Prior seasons saw your advancement subtly sabotaged. The coming season will bring explicit challenges to your authority. This shift from covert to overt resistance signals your increased effectiveness and impact. Type AMEN to receive blessing 110,000 and activate supernatural protection over your divine assignments. The systematic deception perpetrated against you had financial implications as well. Resources designated for your divine assignment were deliberately redirected. Provision meant to fuel your purpose was strategically intercepted. Economic limitations were artificially imposed to restrict your movement and influence. This financial suppression ends today. I am dispatching angels of abundance to correct these intentional imbalances. Unexpected provision will find you through surprising channels. Resources hidden and stored for your purpose will suddenly become accessible. This is not prosperity for personal comfort, but provision for kingdom advancement. Every resource released carries divine assignment and expectation. You will soon witness unprecedented financial alignment with your true purpose. Opportunities previously blocked will suddenly open. Connections strategically severed will unexpectedly restore. Investments systematically undermined will surprisingly flourish. This restoration comprises divine justice in action, heaven's systematic reversal of deliberate economic suppression. Type AMEN to receive blessing 120,000 and activate complete financial restoration. As heaven's purpose unfolds through you with increasing clarity and impact, maintain extraordinary vigilance against familiar adversarial tactics. First, premature promotion offering visibility before preparation is complete. These accelerated platforms carry hidden cost, the subtle compromise of your message through rushed development. Divine elevation follows heaven's timeline, not human opportunity. Second, urgent distractions disguised as spiritual emergencies. These manufactured crises aim to divert your focus from primary assignment to peripheral concerns. Discern between genuine need and strategic interruption. Third, burdensome partnerships presenting as necessary support. These imbalanced connections drain more resources than they contribute, while creating emotional obligation that restricts your movement. Divine alliances energize rather than exhaust. Your defense against these tactics remains simple but profound. Absolute alignment with heaven's specific direction for your life. Every opportunity, relationship, and assignment must be evaluated through the lens of your unique calling. That which advances your divine purpose receives your energy. Everything else receives your delegation or denial. Type AMEN to receive blessing 130,000 and activate impenetrable discernment against these tactics. The heartbreaking truth that was hidden from you served a purpose your adversaries never intended. While they worked to suppress your authority, heaven used this season to deepen your capacity. The very delays designed to discourage you were leveraged to develop your character. The opposition meant to destroy your confidence became the catalyst for supernatural dependence. The isolation intended to weaken your influence became sacred space for divine encounter. This is heaven's consistent pattern. What darkness intends for destruction, light repurposes for development. What appears as pointless suffering becomes purposeful strengthening. What feels like abandoned promise becomes amplified preparation. You now possess something invaluable: tested faith and proven character. Your response to betrayal, disappointment, and inexplicable resistance has demonstrated your readiness for greater authority. You did not become bitter though you had cause. You did not surrender integrity though you faced temptation. You did not compromise values though you endured pressure. This character verification has cosmic significance. It qualifies you for influence that would destroy those of untested virtue. It authorizes heaven to entrust you with authority that would corrupt those of unrefined character. Type AMEN to receive blessing 140,000 and activate your expanded kingdom authority. In this moment of divine revelation and restoration, I impart specific wisdom for the unique challenges of your next season. The greater your authority, the deeper your hiddenness must become. As public impact increases, private communion must intensify. Expanded influence requires enlarged capacity for sacred silence and secret faithfulness. Without this balance, visibility becomes vulnerability. The higher your elevation, the stronger your foundation must be. Accelerated advancement builds momentum that magnifies both opportunity and opposition. Without structural integrity in your spiritual foundation, increased momentum becomes destructive rather than productive. The wider your reach, the tighter your inner circle must remain. Expanded impact attracts increased attention, both divine partnership and dark opposition. Without carefully maintained boundaries, essential energy dissipates through unnecessary access. These principles provide protection against the unique hazards of your coming promotion. Their implementation ensures sustainable impact rather than meteoric rise followed by devastating fall. Type AMEN to receive blessing 150,000 and activate wisdom for expanded influence. I must now reveal the specific adversarial systems that have opposed your advancement. This disclosure comes not to create fear, but to facilitate freedom through recognition. First, the spirit of confusion, a systematic disorientation designed to prevent clear perception of divine purpose and direction. Its primary weapons include overwhelming complexity, constant contradiction, and chronic uncertainty. Second, the spirit of delay, a strategic hindrance intended to exhaust perseverance through perpetual postponement. Its main tactics involve bureaucratic complication, relational obstruction, and circumstantial interference. Third, the spirit of discouragement, a persistent opposition focused on eroding confidence through continual disappointment. Its core strategies include exaggerated negative outcomes, minimized positive developments, and isolated perspective. You have faced these adversarial systems from both human and spiritual sources. Their coordinated deployment created artificial barriers around your divine assignment. Today, by heaven's authority, I declare these systems permanently disabled in your life. Their influence is broken. Their access is revoked. Their effectiveness is neutralized. Where confusion operated, clarity now reigns. Where delay dominated, acceleration now flows. Where discouragement prevailed, supernatural encouragement now flourishes. Type AMEN to receive blessing 160,000 and activate complete liberation from these systems. The heartbreaking truth concealed from you extended to your spiritual identity within heaven's royal lineage. You are not merely called to serve in the kingdom, but created to rule with delegated authority. You are not simply a worker in divine purpose, but a wielder of heavenly power. You are not just an instrument of heavenly agenda, but an heir of spiritual dominion. This royal identity was systematically obscured to keep you functioning below your authorized capacity. Those who recognized your potential authority worked diligently to ensure you never discovered it. Their efforts to maintain your ignorance reveal their fear of your awakening. Today, I activate the complete revelation of your royal spiritual identity. No longer will you operate from the limited perspective of servanthood without understanding the authorized dominion that accompanies it. No longer will you function from the restricted mindset of subservience without recognizing the delegated authority that empowers it. No longer will you serve from the constrained position of submission without embracing the spiritual sovereignty that directs it. Type AMEN to receive blessing 170,000 and activate your royal spiritual identity. As this divine restoration unfolds with increasing momentum, watch for these confirming signs of heaven's intervention. First, supernatural reversal of long-standing opposition. Situations that resisted years of prayer and effort will suddenly yield without explanation. Second, strategic relocation of key individuals who enabled your suppression. Those who occupied positions of obstruction will find themselves unexpectedly removed or reassigned. Third, spontaneous advocacy from unexpected sources. Individuals with no obvious motivation to support you will become outspoken champions of your cause. Fourth, divine acceleration compressing timeframes from years to months, months to weeks, weeks to days. What should require extended processes will manifest with inexplicable efficiency. Fifth, unusual favor with decision-makers previously inaccessible or unresponsive. Those who showed no interest in your purpose will suddenly demonstrate committed support. These manifestations serve as divine signatures, heaven's unmistakable endorsement of your restored assignment. They require no human engineering or manipulation. They emerge through divine orchestration alone. Your responsibility remains simple alignment with heaven's direction. The implementation comes through supernatural intervention. Type AMEN to receive blessing 180,000 and activate these divine confirmations. I speak now to the wounded places within your soul, those internal injuries inflicted through deliberate deception and betrayal, the disappointment that settled into quiet resignation, the confusion that hardened into self-doubt, the rejection that calcified into cautious withdrawal. These wounded areas have served as access points for ongoing spiritual oppression. Today, by divine authority, I declare these internal injuries healed. The emotional trauma inflicted through systematic manipulation is now restored. The mental strongholds constructed through strategic deception are now demolished. The spiritual bindings created through false authority are now shattered. You are released from the obligation to understand every aspect of what transpired. Some betrayals defy complete human comprehension because they originate from darkness beyond natural motivation. Accept this limitation of understanding and embrace the freedom it offers. What matters now is not full analysis of past suppression, but complete activation of future purpose. Your highest vindication comes not through explanation, but through elevation. Not through retribution, but through restoration. Type AMEN to receive blessing 190,000 and activate complete soul healing. The systematic deception implemented against you included the strategic positioning of counterfeit connections, relationships carefully designed to appear as divine alliance while actually functioning as spiritual hindrance. These connections shared enough common language to establish credibility while subtly redirecting your energy away from authentic purpose. They offered enough encouragement to maintain engagement while consistently undermining your confidence in critical moments. They provided enough support to foster dependency while systematically separating you from genuine alliance. The heartbreaking truth is that some relationships you treasured as heaven-sent were actually adversary-positioned. Some connections you fought to maintain were strategically designed for your limitation. Some associations you defended against criticism were deliberately established to deplete your resources and distract your focus. Divine discernment now activates within you, supernatural ability to distinguish authentic alliance from strategic diversion. You will recognize with startling clarity which relationships carry heaven's endorsement and which operate from ulterior motivation. This discernment brings responsibility for appropriate response. Not every revealed deception requires confrontation. Some require only internal recognition and strategic repositioning. Heaven's wisdom will guide your specific response to each situation. Type AMEN to receive blessing 200,000 and activate perfect relational discernment. In this season of divine restoration, I impart specific wisdom for maximizing heaven's intervention. Guard the sacred work unfolding within you. Not everyone deserves information about your transformation. Some seek knowledge from curiosity rather than commitment. Some request explanation from skepticism rather than support. Some demand involvement from control rather than contribution. Maintain appropriate boundaries around heaven's activity in your life. Divine processes require protected space to reach complete manifestation. Premature exposure creates vulnerability to unnecessary opposition. Selective sharing preserves spiritual potency. Release the compulsion to prove heaven's activity to human skepticism. Divine vindication requires no human verification. Heaven's purposes advance whether acknowledged or denied by earthly witnesses. Your assignment is alignment with divine direction, not persuasion of human opinion. Move decisively when heaven confirms timing. Delayed obedience in critical moments creates unnecessary complexity. Divine opportunities often appear briefly before transitioning to others, if not immediately engaged. Procrastination introduces complications that perfect timing prevents. Type AMEN to receive blessing 210,000 and activate wisdom for divine partnership. The heartbreaking truth concealed from you extends beyond personal limitation to prophetic purpose. Your assignment carries implications that transcend individual fulfillment to influence collective transformation. What heaven has placed within you is not merely for personal achievement, but for cultural impact. The mantle upon your life is not designed simply for individual advancement, but for systemic change. This expanded purpose explains the extraordinary opposition you encountered. What sought expression through you threatens established structures of control. What awaited demonstration through your authority challenges protected systems of power. What desired manifestation through your obedience contradicts accepted limitations of possibility. You are assigned as divine contradiction to narratives that suppress authentic identity and purpose. You are positioned as spiritual disruption to systems that constrain heaven's intention for human flourishing. You are authorized as prophetic implementation of alternatives to dominant structures that restrict divine expression. This assignment carries inherent opposition. Its fulfillment guarantees resistance. Its advancement ensures conflict. Heaven has trained you through personal battles for public warfare. Private testing has qualified you for visible authority. Hidden faithfulness has prepared you for exposed responsibility. Type AMEN to receive blessing 220,000 and activate your prophetic assignment. In the coming season, you will receive specific strategic assignments, divine missions precisely calibrated to your unique spiritual authority. Some will appear insignificant in the moment, but create ripple effects that transform entire environments. Others will require immediate courage as you confront situations you previously avoided. Each assignment carries exact purpose within heaven's larger campaign. None are random or arbitrary. All contribute to strategic advancement of divine agenda in your assigned territory. Your obedience activates supernatural partnership. Your alignment releases angelic assistance. Your surrender enables divine outcomes that exceed human capacity. These assignments come with comprehensive equipping. You will not be sent without being supplied. You will not be directed without being empowered. You will not be assigned without being authorized. Heaven's responsibility is provision. Yours is obedience. Divine ability ensures successful implementation when human surrender allows supernatural partnership. Type AMEN to receive blessing 230,000 and activate your strategic assignments. The opposition you previously encountered came partly because you carried potential authority. The resistance you will now face comes because you operate in activated authority. This opposition will manifest differently, less through hindrance and more through direct confrontation. Prior seasons saw your advancement subtly sabotaged. The coming season will bring explicit challenges to your authority. This shift from covert to overt resistance signals your increased effectiveness and impact. It confirms the threat your activated assignment poses to established systems. It validates the divine authorization behind your accelerated advancement. For this intensified opposition, I release expanded protection over your life, purpose, relationships, and resources. Angelic guardians take position around every dimension of your assignment. Divine intelligence provides advance warning of planned attacks. Supernatural wisdom guides strategic positioning to minimize vulnerability. No weapon formed against you will prosper. No strategy deployed against you will succeed. No opposition aligned against you will prevail. Type AMEN to receive blessing 240,000 and activate comprehensive divine protection. The deception perpetrated against you had significant impact on divine connections meant to accelerate your purpose. Strategic relationships designed for mutual advancement were systematically disrupted. Key alliances intended for complementary partnership were deliberately damaged. Essential connections created for collaborative impact were intentionally distorted. This relational interference serves singular purpose: to ensure your isolation from the very partnerships that would catalyze your effectiveness. Today, these divine connections are being supernaturally restored and established. Relationships long blocked will suddenly activate. Partnerships long distorted will unexpectedly align. Alliances long prevented will surprisingly form. You will recognize these heaven-sent connections through three consistent markers. First, unusual resonance, immediate recognition that transcends natural affinity to spiritual alignment. Second, complementary capacity, clear evidence of strengths precisely matched to your areas of development. Third, accelerated effectiveness, tangible amplification of impact when operating in collaborative partnership. These divine connections require intentional stewardship. Sacred relationships flourish through committed cultivation. Strategic alliances develop through consistent investment. Heaven-orchestrated partnerships mature through devoted attention. Type AMEN to receive blessing 250,000 and activate your divine connections. I speak now with divine authority to the economic dimensions of your assignment. The systematic suppression you experienced included deliberate financial limitation. Resources designated for your purpose were strategically redirected. Provision intended for your advancement was deliberately intercepted. Economic opportunities meant for your support were systematically blocked. This financial containment serves specific purpose: to restrict your movement, limit your options, and constrain your influence through material deprivation. Today, this economic suppression is divinely reversed. Supernatural provision now flows toward your assignment without obstruction. Divine abundance now supports your purpose without limitation. Heavenly resources now fuel your calling without restriction. This financial restoration represents justice rather than prosperity, heaven's systematic correction of deliberate economic suppression. Watch for 7 specific manifestations of this provision: unexpected income from surprising sources, sudden settlement of long-standing debts, strategic connections to resource holders, divine ideas with immediate economic impact, overlooked assets suddenly discovered, inherited resources previously blocked, and supernatural multiplication of existing provision. Type AMEN to receive blessing 260,000 and activate complete economic restoration. The heartbreaking truth concealed from you served purpose your adversaries never intended. While they worked to suppress your authority, heaven used this season to deepen your capacity. The very delays designed to discourage you were leveraged to develop your character. The opposition meant to destroy your influence became the catalyst for supernatural resilience. The isolation intended to weaken your impact became sacred space for divine encounter. This divine repurposing of adversarial strategies represents heaven's consistent pattern. What darkness deploys for destruction, light redirects for development. What appears as pointless suffering becomes purposeful strengthening. What feels like abandoned promise becomes amplified preparation. You now possess something invaluable: tested faith and proven character. Your response to betrayal, disappointment, and inexplicable resistance has demonstrated your readiness for greater responsibility. You did not become bitter though you had cause. You did not surrender integrity though you faced temptation. You did not compromise values though you endured pressure. This character verification has cosmic significance. It qualifies you for influence that would destroy those of untested virtue. It authorizes heaven to entrust you with authority that would corrupt those of unrefined character. Type AMEN to receive blessing 270,000 and activate your expanded spiritual authority. As this divine intervention unfolds with increasing momentum, heaven requires specific responses that maximize its effectiveness. Maintain sacred silence about sensitive revelations. The premature sharing of divine secrets diminishes their power and alerts opposition to heaven's strategy. Let results speak before your words do. Practice immediate obedience to divine direction. Delayed response to heavenly instruction introduces unnecessary complications and missed opportunities. What heaven initiates carries perfect timing that human hesitation disrupts. Document divine interventions as they manifest. Record specific demonstrations of supernatural activity in your circumstances. These testimonies become weapons in future warfare and sources of faith in challenging seasons. Release attachment to particular methods of fulfillment. Divine purposes often manifest through unexpected means. Heaven's commitment is to outcomes rather than processes. Insistence on specific implementation restricts supernatural creativity and problem solving. Type AMEN to receive blessing 280,000 and activate wisdom for divine partnership. The systematic deception deployed against you included deliberate distortion of divine timing, creating artificial urgency around trivial matters while imposing unnecessary delay on critical advancement. This manipulation of temporal perception kept you perpetually misaligned with heaven's calendar, investing maximum energy in minimum impact activities while postponing high-value engagement. Today, divine chronos is restored in your consciousness and circumstances. Supernatural alignment with heaven's timing now governs your decisions and actions. Divine wisdom now distinguishes between genuine urgency and manufactured emergency. Heavenly discernment now separates strategic opportunity from attractive distraction. In this restoration of divine timing, you will experience supernatural efficiency, maximum impact through minimum effort when aligned with heaven's perfect schedule. You will witness divine compression, processes that typically require extended time frames, manifesting with inexplicable speed when positioned in heaven's appointed moments. You will operate with prophetic precision, taking exactly right action at precisely right time through supernatural guidance rather than human calculation. Type AMEN to receive blessing 290,000 and activate perfect alignment with divine timing. I speak now to the spiritual identity at your core, the authentic self designed by heaven before distortion through deception. The systematic manipulation you experienced targeted your self-perception, creating artificial limitations in your understanding of divine design and destiny. Lies embedded in your consciousness became internal barriers more restrictive than external opposition. Today, these deceptions are permanently removed. Divine truth now replaces programmed falsehood. Heavenly perspective now supersedes human definition. Supernatural identity now overrides manufactured limitation. You are not merely what you have done, but what you were created to be. You are not simply what you have experienced, but what you were designed to express. You are not only what you have become, but what heaven has intended from the beginning. This divine identity transcends performance, position, and perception. It exists independent of achievement, advancement, or acknowledgement. It remains constant despite failure, fulfillment, or fluctuating circumstances. Type AMEN to receive blessing 300,000 and activate your authentic spiritual identity. The heartbreaking truth they concealed from you extended beyond personal limitation to generational purpose. What heaven placed within you carries implications beyond your lifetime. The authority entrusted to you establishes foundations for future impact. The mantle positioned upon you creates inheritance for coming generations. This expanded timescale explains the extraordinary opposition you encountered. What sought manifestation through you threatens not merely current systems, but future establishments. What awaited expression through your authority challenges not only existing power structures, but emerging dominance. What desired demonstration through your obedience contradicts not simply accepted limitations, but developing restrictions? You are assigned as divine contradiction to narratives that would shape cultural direction. You are positioned as spiritual disruption to systems that would determine collective destiny. You are authorized as prophetic implementation of alternatives to dominant structures that would define human possibility. This assignment transcends personal fulfillment to influence generational trajectory. Its implementation affects not merely immediate circumstances, but future environments. Its advancement impacts not only current conditions, but coming contexts. Type AMEN to receive blessing 310,000 and activate your generational assignment. As heaven's purposes unfold through you with increasing clarity and impact, maintain extraordinary vigilance against familiar adversarial tactics in this new season. First, isolation through elevation, the subtle separation from authentic community through platform positioning and status differentiation. This strategic seclusion creates vulnerability through diminished accountability and perspective. Second, distraction through multiplication, the overwhelming diversification of opportunities that fragments focus and dilutes effectiveness. This tactical dispersion prevents concentrated impact in primary assignment. Third, corruption through adulation, the gradual compromise of character and calling through unfiltered affirmation and unchecked influence. This progressive distortion transforms divine assignment into personal kingdom. Your defense against these advanced tactics remains consistent. Absolute alignment with heaven's specific direction for your life and humble submission to divine authority structures. Every opportunity, relationship, and assignment must be evaluated through the lens of your unique calling and confirmed through established spiritual covering. That which advances your divine purpose receives your energy. Everything else receives your delegation or denial. Type AMEN to receive blessing 320,000 and activate advanced spiritual discernment. I must now impart specific wisdom for the unique challenges of your expanded influence. The greater your authority, the more significant your hiddenness must become. As public impact increases, private communion must intensify. Expanded influence requires enlarged capacity for sacred silence and secret faithfulness. Without this balance, visibility becomes vulnerability. The higher your elevation, the stronger your foundation must be. Accelerated advancement builds momentum that magnifies both opportunity and opposition. Without structural integrity in your spiritual foundation, increased momentum becomes destructive rather than productive. The wider your reach, the tighter your inner circle must remain. Expanded impact attracts increased attention, both divine partnership and dark opposition. Without carefully maintained boundaries, essential energy dissipates through unnecessary access. These principles provide protection against the unique hazards of your coming promotion. Their implementation ensures sustainable impact rather than meteoric rise followed by devastating fall. Type AMEN to receive blessing 330,000 and activate wisdom for expanded authority. The systematic deception implemented against you included strategic dismantling of divine confidence, that supernatural assurance that sustains advancement against opposition. Through consistent contradiction between declaration and manifestation, between promise and fulfillment, between expectation and outcome, your spiritual confidence was gradually eroded. This deterioration of divine certainty created hesitation in critical moments, reservation in essential decisions, and withdrawal in uncomfortable environments. Today, supernatural confidence is fully restored within you. Divine assurance now sustains your advancement regardless of visible circumstances. Heavenly certainty now supports your decisions despite contradictory evidence. Supernatural conviction now maintains your engagement even in hostile atmospheres. This restored confidence manifests not as human arrogance, but as divine authorization. Not presumption of personal ability, but assurance of heavenly backing. It operates with appropriate humility while maintaining uncommon certainty. It functions with genuine modesty while expressing supernatural authority. It demonstrates authentic meekness while implementing divine mandate. Type AMEN to receive blessing 340,000 and activate divine confidence. The heartbreaking truth concealed from you included deliberate distortion of heavenly perspective on your development. While human voices criticized your progress, heavenly witnesses celebrated your perseverance. While earthly assessments focused on your failures, divine evaluation recognized your faithfulness. While temporal judgment condemned your methods, eternal perspective honored your motives. You were never the disappointment they claimed. You were never the failure they described. You were never the problem they identified. Their assessments reflected their limitations, not your value. Their conclusions revealed their fears, not your future. Their judgments exposed their insecurities, not your inadequacies. I speak now with divine authority to permanently sever the influence of these false verdicts over your identity and purpose. What has been declared against you in human courts is overruled by heaven's higher judgment. What has been spoken over you by limited perspective is nullified by divine decree. What has been prophesied against your purpose is canceled by superior authority. You are released from obligation to perspectives that contradicted heaven's assessment. You are freed from accountability to expectations that oppose divine design. You are liberated from responsibility to fulfill human demands that competed with heavenly assignment. Type AMEN to receive blessing 350,000 and activate complete freedom from false judgment. As this divine restoration reaches culmination, I leave you with these final assurances. You are now fully known by heaven and by yourself. The amnesia has lifted. The confusion has cleared. The false limitations have dissolved. You stand in complete alignment with your divine design and destiny. You are now properly positioned for maximum kingdom impact. The resistance has been removed. The opposition has been neutralized. The artificial barriers have been demolished. Your path lies clear before you. You are now completely equipped for your divine assignment. The necessary wisdom has been imparted. The essential connections have been established. The required resources have been released. Everything needed for success has been provided. This is the moment of divine convergence, when heavenly purpose aligns with earthly position, when spiritual authority meets practical opportunity, when private preparation connects with public demonstration. The heartbreaking truth they hid from you has become the very catalyst for your supernatural advancement. What they meant for your limitation has become the launching pad for your liberation. Type AMEN to receive blessing 360,000 and seal this divine restoration. I, Michael, Commander of the Celestial Armies, Protector of Divine Truth and Guardian of the Sacred Timeline, have delivered this message by heaven's authority. What has been spoken is now activated. What has been revealed must now be walked out. The restoration is complete. The advancement begins.